Well, I hope you like lemons, because you're going to be sucking lots of them, but then you're kind of used to being a bit bitter. The dark took the easy path. They took the lies and the seducements. They took away whole galaxies, solar system and planets. But just to remind you, you didn't take us. Our path may have been a long one for victory, but now that time has come. Hi all and welcome back. In this next portion, we're going to get into what they call the caste system that these dark forces operate under, called the 4 spiritual castes. Is it a coincidence or coincidence? If you type in caste system on the internet, you arrive with India, where this more modern day war originated. The answer is no. India was the ground zero for the modern way of light and dark. And that doesn't mean we have to denigrate all the Indian people either. All peoples and beings have been played as pawns in this insidious demonic dance of the dark. But I'm asking the people of India, like the Jewish people, to see through their religions and what passes off as culture as a grand lie and correct it. The Black Sunites divide human beings into 4 spiritual castes based on their inner trajectory and destiny as it relates to the Black Sun. Study and know these 4 castes well, as they are central to the Black Sunite ordering of society. The first is called the shadow blind, Kamud Wikithka. The first caste are the most mundane of white Sunites, who live their lives oblivious to the Black Sun's power and to its very existence. They orbit spiritually around the white sun, blissfully unaware or willfully ignorant that there is a shadow sun drawing all light towards it, destroying them and devouring the universe. These beings are called the shadow blind. In the Black Sunite hierarchy, the shadow blind are viewed with disdain, being little more than unawakened apes who lack all potential for Black Sunite work. Because they are so numerous, we don't generally bother them, referring to avoid their kind as a wise wolf avoids the main body of the elk herd. The wolf, the animal totem that they corrupted, and the elk herd, like the elk lodge. They avoid because they are weak and scared of our power, that's why. If that person, this Black Sunite, is so empowered, why can't they handle the frequency of those empowered? The shadow sun drawing all life towards it, destroying them and devouring the universe, is what they've just said. The harvesters, which we've referenced in a previous show. And I hope now you understand the mirror concept better now with their term shadow blind. The second caste, called passerby, are those who, due to some inner crisis or dark awakening, approach the Black Sun briefly at some point in their lives. They pass by the secret star like a spacecraft passing near a planet, feeling its pull with fascination but moving on, their trajectory only temporarily altered. These are the passers-by. A passerby might develop a morbid fascination with death, be tempted by the devil, adopt a gothic aesthetic, dabble in dark occultism, become a coffee shop nihilist or a doomer, join a militia or gang, or have suicidal or homicidal thoughts. These are common signs that the black sun has pulled them towards it and begun to exert its dark power upon their mind and soul. Because passerbys show some inclination to Borzumic ways, black sunnites may target them for recruitment into our society. Though they are usually only dabblers who soon return to the white sunnite ways, while they are in that phase, they can sometimes be recruited as black agents and made use of. In some cases, they can be guided deeper into the shadow, becoming dedicated votaries of the black sun. This would be better described as the mind-controlled seducement program, where they entice people in with fame and fortune, or wrap people into dark occultism via witchcraft on the premise that they're doing good. No witches are doing good. That is the illusion these dark forces gave you. No matter what your intentions are, it is the fishing technique where they reel you in and you don't see the hook until it's too late. Caste 3, orbiters, are those who are more profoundly attracted to the black sun, becoming drawn into a long-term orbit around it. We call these the Sekirakaths. Orbiters are permanently transformed beings, for their proximity to the shadow sun means they constantly feel its pull and perceive its vril. Now, vril energy can be used for light or dark purposes. The vril energy is what powered the Vitmanas and Vitmara spacecraft we had here 110,000 years ago. The orbiters are the lay followers and lower level black sunnite initiates whose lives revolve around the black sun's power in some way. Orbiters are a rare breed, perhaps 1 in 100 or rarer. They can be found in many guises: artists, religious devotees, soul dyers, philosophers, politicians, criminals, businessmen, and terrorists. But they all have an inward dedication to a dark path and a dark power. It is the desire for power through being weak is what wraps these people into the sewer. Most in this caste aren't consciously aware that they are beholden to the black sun. They may use some other name for their source of allegiance, such as God, Satan, Allah, or death, the dark force in nature or power, or simply follow their source instinctively without giving it a name. To look for an orbiter, look for one who has a focused life, an inner strength, and a certain disturbing or sinister nature. The ability to spot such beings takes experience and intuition. The more advanced you are in the caste hierarchy, the more easily you'll be able to spot them. This also works for us as well, on the frequency an individual puts out. Like attracts like. And we mentioned this recently about a certain other Facebook group, and some members expressed disbelief or disappointment. Certain people joined that hate group. No, it's not a surprise. Their masks wore off and they joined their level. And that is where those people are in their terms of development of the self. It is said that orbiters are not typically found among wild criminals, drug addicts and the dregs of society. In fact, they are often upstanding and successful citizens who keep their dark allegiances very private. A bit like politicians. Our challenge as Black Sunites is to locate such beings and recruit them into our order by awakening them to the true source and nature of their path. At the same time, we must groom our own orbiters in the form of black agents, acolytes, and the black knights of the order. The shadow bound. The fourth caste are the rarest of beings who pass entirely into the black sun, immersing themselves in its shadow and leaving the white sunite world behind forever. These are the shadow lords and the black emperors, who have made the Zambran Zath, lightless realm, their permanent abode and kingdom. We call those who have entered fully into the shadow's embrace the Kamud Narkith, the shadow bound. And there you have it. They are telling you the value of shadow work. Those shadows that are not integrated are like beacons in their world. And it's something they can capture you by. And like Solomon did, testaments and covenants have the same meaning, to bind. They have something to bind or bound you by, and from that there is little to no chance of escape, as this next sentence states. The shadow-bound can be compared to denizens inside a black hole from which nothing escapes and no light is emitted. They are trapped spiritually within the horizon of the black sun, with no hope of rescue and no way to communicate with those outside the sphere of pure shadow. To study under a shadow lord, one must enter the black sun oneself, becoming just as trapped into the lightless realm in the process. Thus the quest for the shadow lordship is a one-way journey into the spiritual void or into the realm of the living dead. Essentially, those people or beings are trapped in the astral realm, and also those in the underworld, as mentioned with the Nagas in the show on Sunday. They go on. Few people will ever encounter a shadow-bound being. They are 1 in a million or more. At this stage of the order's development, we can count their number on the fingers of one hand, with digits to spare. I wonder why. We have met many in our battles, and they all reside at what they thought was the top of the tree. They were wrong about that also. It seems that precious few have the commitment, the dark gift and the independent spirit necessary to complete the Black Sun path and reach shadow lordship in this age. No, it's only the few because the light fought back and decimated their numbers is why. And too few are believing their bullshit anymore. But those who do will join the ruling caste of the Black Sun Order, to whom all other castes defer. The same as the Draco-Reptilian hierarchy and the caste system, all in one sentence. Our highest task as an order is to groom select beings to become future Shadow Lords themselves, thus ensuring the continued survival and power of our brotherhood. Shadow bound, to bind, like the term covenant, testament, and religia, which translates into religion, which means to bind.